Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Friday. Happy Freaky Friday to all you freaks out there. Hope your day and your week have been going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. And there is no opportunity for money like Freaky Friday. We, of course, have our Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay today. Like we do every single Friday, guys, please go ahead and comment Freaky down below. And if today's parlay hits, one lucky commenter will win a free $25 Amazon gift card. We do it every single Freaky Friday, and every time it cashes, somebody gets paid a gift card. So make sure to go ahead and comment Freaky down below in the comment section. Apologies, guys. I know this video is coming out very late in the day, about 4 hours too late. A little bit of a hectic Freaky Friday here, but listen, better late than never. Hope you guys have been enjoying the NCAA tournament. Quick little recap of how we did last night before we dive into today's 5-leg parlay. And if you couldn't tell by the thumbnail, guys, we were on a pretty solid run of late. We started the week off disastrous, 0-4 on Monday. Since that 0-4 performance on Monday, we had a 2-0 day on Tuesday, a 4-0 day on Wednesday, and then a 2-1 night last night. Giannis Antetokounmpo, we almost had our third sweep in a row. He missed it by 1 point. We had him over 28.5 points. He finished with exactly 28 points. You make one more free throw, one more shot, and you have ourselves a guaranteed cash. But we're not going to get greedy here. We are 2-1. We did win some units, 0.78. We are now on the year 169. Pause for applause here on this Freaky Friday, and 142 between parlays and single bets. We are up over 19 units profit so far this season. So an 8-1 run over the last 3 days. Let's keep that positive momentum going into today's video. 5-leg Freaky Friday parlay coming your way right now. Jumping right into the outlier screen, guys, and I will try to be quick in today's video. I know we're coming out late, so I give you guys enough time to go ahead and plug these picks in so you guys can go ahead and tail the parlay. So our first leg of our 5-leg parlay comes from the Hornets Thunder game, 8 p.m. tip-off. We're going Aaron Wiggins of the Oklahoma City Thunder over 14.5 points plus rebounds. By the way, guys, we are using DraftKings for today's parlay. Some legs may be available on other sportsbooks, but we are using DraftKings primarily for today's parlay. The easiest way to go ahead and tail the parlay, guys, down below in the description will be a link. It will literally say link for today's parlay. You click that and you take it right to the outlier page. You can go ahead and plug that parlay directly into your sportsbook. Stick around to the end of the video and I'll go ahead and show you guys how that works. But all right, Aaron Wiggins over 14.5 points plus rebounds, minus 210 over on DraftKings. These are all alternate lines, of course, for the parlay. Now, right off the bat, the overall data is not good in this player prop. This is a very much a matchup-based and situation-based player prop here. So look at the recent data, though. It is okay. 6 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 17.5 points plus rebounds per game over his last 10 games. Go ahead and stretch the data out to the last 20. Again, it's actually not that bad. 75% hit rate. 15 of his last 20 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 19.8 points plus rebounds per game over his last 20 games. Now, where the data gets a little more dicey and where I mentioned before it's not great is when you go ahead and stretch the data out to the overall view this year. It's a 46% hit rate on this over. Now, he is averaging 15.23 points plus rebounds per game, but the overall numbers, you do see more losses than you do wins. A lot more green of late, but overall this year, a lot of red here on this line for Aaron Wiggins. Now, like I mentioned, guys, this player prop is very much based in matchup and circumstance. Look at the matchup here. The Hornets, obviously a team just spiraling out of control or spiraling into the Cooper Flag lottery race, if you will. But the head-to-head data here, each of his last 2 matchups against the Hornets, he's cashed the over. They have played once this year back on December 28th. He had 17 points and 5 rebounds in that game, which was a 12-point win for OKC. And he's averaging 20.67 points plus rebounds per game over their last 3 meetings with Charlotte dating back to last year. So some pretty good numbers there for Aaron Wiggins already against Charlotte, including once this year. Overall, the Hornets 15th in points allowed, 21st in rebounds versus shooting guards. They actually do rank pretty well from an overall standpoint. However, over the last 15 games, no team has given up more points to shooting guards than the Charlotte Hornets. So it's actually a really good matchup here. A team that has not been able to defend the shooting guard position at all over the last month. And if all that didn't tickle your pickle, I got one more little data point to show you guys. Obviously, a lot of injuries right now for OKC. A lot of their guards are out. Ajay Mitchell out. Jalen Williams out. Lou Dort out. We're going to show you guys what the data looks like when all three of those players are out. Now, it's a very small sample size, to be fair. However, in the 3 games without those players this year, he's cashed in 2 of 3 games. That's a 67% hit rate. He's averaging 26 points plus rebounds per game without those 3 guys in the lineup for OKC. And you see here some pretty big performances. Their last game out just 2 days ago versus the Philadelphia 76ers, which was, by the way, a blowout. The biggest thing people are going to talk about is the blowout risk in this game. They beat the Sixers by 33 points. He still had 26 points and 4 rebounds in that game versus Portland. Another blowout win. He had 30 points and 5 rebounds. He should get a lot of minutes and a lot of opportunities in this matchup. He's averaging 17 shots per game when those 3 guys do not play. Add to the fact that Kayson Wallace may also be out, could just mean even more opportunities for Aaron Wiggins. So this could be a really, really stellar spot for minus 210 odds. Really solid value on this player prop. That's the first leg of our 5-leg parlay. All right, the rest of these player props will not take nearly as much explanation. That one I had to explain because you guys are going to see Aaron Wiggins and think, what is this guy thinking? The rest of the player props, I'm not going to have to go into as much depth and detail to explain why I like it. Our second player prop in this parlay is in the Pelicans-Timberwolves game, 8 p.m. tip-off as well. We've got Anthony Edwards over 24.5 points. This one in particular, I don't need to spend too much time on. Again, this is an alternate line available on DraftKings for minus 215, although it is available on a couple of other sports books for varying odds. The data across the board is a really, really good numbers here. You see last 10 games, 80% hit rate, averaging 29.4 points per game. Last 5 games, 100% hit rate. He's averaging 33 points per game over his last 5 games. He's cashed it in 6 straight. Like I said, overall good numbers. Even you go ahead to the overall numbers for the year, 60% hit rate on the year, 41 out of 68 games this year. Edwards has cashed the over, averaging 27.62 points per game this season. So like I said, across the board, really good data, a lot of green for this player prop. From a head-to-head standpoint, he's cashed it in 4 of his last 5 meetings against the Pelicans, including both times they played this year. Now, they just played New Orleans 2 days ago, back on March 19th, just 2 days ago. Like I said, 29 points in that game. Was a close loss for Minnesota there. What I find interesting, though, is the fact that he didn't even play well. He shot 5 for 19, just 26% from the floor, and he still cashed the over with 29 points in that game. Now, he did do pretty well from the free throw line, 15 for 17. I don't know if he'll get that many trips again this time around, but he also probably won't shoot 5 for 19 again. A lot of volume, a lot of shots, and a pretty good matchup overall. Now, I know New Orleans, they do rank pretty well overall this year. However, injuries have really killed this team. They are now bottom 5 in the NBA in points allowed in general. And although versus shooting guards, you do see they are top 5 for the season. Over the last 15 games, they are bottom 10 in the NBA. So a pretty good matchup here for Anthony Edwards. Again, he's cashed it both times he played them this year. For the last 5, he's averaging 29 points per game against the Pelicans across their last 5 meetings. And by the way, if all of that I just rambled on about didn't convince you, we also have the insights provided by Outlier. Shout out to Outlier, the sponsor of today's video. Link down below in the description for a 7-day free trial to check it out for yourself. Anthony Edwards has exceeded 27.5 points in 5 of his last 6 games versus bottom 10 defenses for points allowed. Remember, we're getting it for 24.5. So this is actually 6 of his last 6, a 100% hit rate. He's averaging almost 35 points per game across his last 6 games versus bottom 10 defenses for points allowed. So a really good spot here for Anthony Edwards. Solid second leg of our 5-leg parlay. All right, guys, our third leg of our 5-leg parlay. We are moving on to the Rockets and the Miami Heat. 8 p.m. tip-off. We're going Alperen Şengün of the Houston Rockets over 29.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. We're getting this one very heavy alternate line, minus 270 over on DraftKings. But some really good data across the board on this player prop. He's cashed it in 9 of his last 10 games, averaging 36.1 PRAs per game over his last 10 games. The one miss he had back just a couple days ago, March 17th versus the Sixers, he missed it by 1. He had 13 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. 1 PRA, point, rebound, assist, away from having 10 straight cashes. And the further you search the data out, the more impressive it gets. Last 20 games, still an 80% hit rate, 16 of his last 20, averaging 34.65 PRAs per game. You guys are starting to get the picture as to why this line is listed at minus 270 over on DraftKings. Looking at the season as a whole, a 71% hit rate this year for Şengün on this over, averaging again 34.56 PRAs per game this season. So across the board, really good numbers here for Şengün. But the head-to-head data is also very solid. Small sample size, yes, but he has cashed the over in each of his last 2 matchups against the Miami Heat, averaging 38 points, rebounds, assists against them across those last 2 meetings. Now, they played once this year already back on December 29th, and he had a big game in that one, 18 points, 18 rebounds, and 6 assists in what was a 4-point loss for the Rockets. Now, in terms of the defensive matchup, the Miami Heat overall this year, 13th in points, 25th in rebounds, 6th in assists. The assist part of it, we're not super worried about. It's more the point in the rebound side of it. Now, from a scoring perspective, they rank 13th overall in points allowed versus centers, the Miami Heat do. Over the last 15 games, they're actually bottom 10. They rank 20th in the NBA, so they actually have gotten worse as a scoring defense versus centers. However, the rebounding numbers have completely flipped, and they actually are a pretty solid rebounding team over the last 15 games versus center. So kind of give or take. Regardless, I do like the matchup. They did play once this year. He had a really good game. He's on a really good run of late. And on the road this year, he has a 73% hit rate on the road, averaging 35.57 PRAs per game on the road this year. And over the last 20 road games, a 75% hit rate. He's cashed this in 14 of his last 15 road games. So he's been dominant on the road. Really good numbers across the board. Really solid third player prop in today's slate. All right, guys, our 4th leg of our 5-leg parlay. We're moving on to Pistons, Mavericks, 8:30 p.m. tip-off. We're going to Tobias Harris over 11.5 points. And yeah, I already know we're going to get some hate for this one, but I bet Tobias Harris once this week already and prove you all wrong. I'll prove you all wrong again here. Tobias Harris has been a cash cow this year for a lot of different player props. This line in particular, we're getting from minus 255 over on DraftKings. So it is a bit of a heavy alternate line here, but for good reason. He's cashed it in 9 of his last 10 games, averaging 14.7 points per game over his last 10 games. Stretch that data out to the last 20 games, still a 90% hit rate. 18 of his last 20 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 16.3 points per game over his last 20 games. And you look at the overall season view, still really solid, a 65% hit rate on the over, averaging 13.88 points per game this year. Now, I went ahead and put a filter in to show you guys what Tobias Harris numbers look like this year when Jaden Ivey does not play. Jaden Ivey's obviously out for the year. A 70% hit rate this season without Jaden Ivey. And you do see that last 20-game run where he's cashed 18 of his last 20, all of them without Jaden Ivey. So his absence has put more offensive responsibility on Tobias Harris. He has to do more. He has to carry more of the offensive load for this Pistons team. And honestly, he's got a pretty solid matchup here with the lowly, banged-up Dallas Mavericks, where the report came out earlier this week. They might have to forfeit games because they're so low on players and cap restrictions. But the matchup is a really good one. He's cashed it in 3 straight meetings with the Dallas Mavericks, averaging 20.67 points per game across those last 3. They have played once this year, back on January 31st, almost 2 months ago. He did have 17 points in that game against Dallas. Overall, this year, the Mavericks bottom half of the NBA in points allowed versus power forwards. They are bottom 10, 21st in points allowed, even versus small forwards, 18th. So whatever way you want to shake it, it's a really good matchup here for Tobias Harris against this banged up Mavericks team. The big risk, in my opinion, here is the fact this game could be a blowout in the favor of Detroit. If that happens, what does that look like for Tobias Harris from a minutes perspective, from a shots perspective? I think Dallas is such a good matchup for him that even if he only plays, let's say, 25 minutes, he should get enough offensive volume within those 25 to 28 minutes that he should be able to go ahead and cash the over. A little risky because of the blowout potential, but to be fair, a lot of these player props have serious blowout potential. The Anthony Edwards one has serious blowout potential. That's just the state of the NBA right now. It's the risk you're going to have to take, but I still think overall it's a really solid player prop and a really solid spot for Tobias Harris. That's the 4th leg of our 5-leg parlay. All right, guys, and our 5th and final leg of today's parlay comes from the Cavs-Suns game, 10 p.m. tip-off. We have Donovan Mitchell of the Cleveland Cavaliers over 24.5 points plus assists, which we're getting very heavy alternate line, minus 330 over on DraftKings. The data, for being as high as it is, you'd like it to be a little bit better, but it is really good across the board. 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 29.8 points plus assists per game over his last 10 games. Go ahead and stretch the data out to the last 20, an 85% hit rate, 17 of his last 20 games, averaging 30.25 points plus assists per game. So pretty good numbers all around there for Donovan Mitchell. Go ahead and stretch the data out to the season view. Still a 68% hit rate on the over, averaging 28.95 points plus assists per game this year. So recent data, overall data, looks really good across the board here for Donovan Mitchell. Now look at the head-to-head numbers here too. Pretty good. Each of his last 2 meetings with the Phoenix Suns, he's cashed the over. One narrow cash, and the last time they played, which actually happened this season, back on January 20th, a little over 2 months ago. Really, really good numbers, 33 points and 5 assists, and was a blowout win for the Cavaliers. Now, he took a shit ton of shots in that game, 25 field goal attempts. He only made 11, so he didn't even shoot the ball all that well, to be fair. He did play only 29.6 minutes, too, so that kind of covers that ground, right? If you're worried about blowout potential here with Phoenix, he didn't even play 30 minutes in that game, just shy of 30 actually, and he still cashed the over with flying colors. And although the recent data, he still has been cashing a lot lately. Look at the last 5 games. 4 of the last 5, he's cashed the over. The Cavs have lost 3 straight games, which has kind of been uncharacteristic for them. You kind of get the feeling this is a get-right spot for them against a troubling Suns team. This could be a really good spot for Donovan Mitchell to go off, get the Cavs back in the win category. Look at the overall numbers for Phoenix. Bottom 10 team in points allowed, bottom half of the league in assists allowed. And versus shooting guards overall this season, they are 21st in points, 17th in assists. If you go ahead and narrow the numbers down to the last 15 games, they are still bottom half of the NBA in both of these categories. So whatever way you shake it, you got a pretty good player prop to close out today's parlay. All right, guys, those are all 5 legs in today's parlay. Quick little run through before we go through the odds here. We have Anthony Edwards for the Minnesota Timberwolves over 24.5 points. Aaron Wiggins for the Oklahoma City Thunder over 14.5 points plus rebounds. Tobias Harris for the Detroit Pistons over 11.5 points. Alperen Sengun of the Houston Rockets over 29.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. And Donovan Mitchell for the Cleveland Cavaliers over 24.5 points plus assists. You parlay all 5 legs together, you get a parlay of plus 430 odds over on DraftKings. Again, we try to typically do for Freaky Friday plus 500 or higher, unless it's a parlay where I just really feel comfortable and confident in it, where I'm willing to sacrifice a little value if I really like to play. And this is that instance where I think we got a really good parlay, some really good legs. Yes, it's not plus 500, but I don't want to really shake anything up. I like the lines where they are. I'd rather keep it like this and sacrifice a little bit of value, but get a better chance of hitting the parlay. So plus 430 odds over on DraftKings, still a ton of value in this parlay. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, guys, the easiest way to tail, I know someone's been making, not someone, a couple of people have been commenting on the fact that I haven't been posting the pinned comment all the time. I do my best to do that. Sometimes I don't have time to write it out, unfortunately. But if the pinned comment's not there, if you don't see me, if there's a day where I'm unable to get it posted, guys, link in the description. I always make sure it's written there, link for today's plays or link for today's parlay. And the link's right there. It'll take you to this page right here. Very simple, very easy to use. All 5 picks for the parlay are all listed out with their lines, with their odds, even start times, team matchup, everything. Okay? If I ever miss the pinned comment, you don't see it, click that link. It'll take you right here to go ahead and tail along with the plays. Now, when it comes to parlays, the easiest way to tail, guys, I've been trying to advertise this a lot lately, is to just go ahead and go this page. Again, the link will be in the description. Link for today's plays. You're going to click add to bet slip here over on DraftKings, okay? Add to bet slip. Hit continue. Now, it could be in browser. If you're on your phone, it'll take you right to the DraftKings app. It'll take you right over here, and look, it's all plugged in. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go ahead and plug in all the picks individually. It takes you right to the sportsbook. It puts them all in the sportsbook. Actually, it says right here plus 436. So actually, the odds went up a little bit. So we're going to rock with plus 436, I guess. Plus 436, and you go ahead and you plug in whatever you want to put. Whatever your wager amount is, it's that easy and it's that simple. All right, guys, so that's a 5-leg parlay, plus 436 odds over on DraftKings. Got to write that down. That's the official number we're getting it at. And that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. And make sure you guys go ahead and comment freaky, because if this parlay hits, and I got a good feeling about it, if this parlay hits, one lucky commenter will win a free $25 Amazon gift card. Just make sure you comment freaky down below. I will be back tomorrow with another NBA player prop video, and I actually have a little bit of an announcement to make. I will be taking Monday off, so no video on Sunday and no video on Monday. I am in the process of moving. It's exciting. It's scary. So you're going to see, tomorrow will be actually the last video, maybe ever. And yeah, I'm going to receive some judgment for this, but this is my family home. This is my parents' house that I live in. So if I ever have to record a video and I'm at my parents', maybe I'll go ahead and record in the old studio. But starting Tuesday, we will have a brand new recording studio and setup and everything in my new house. So it's exciting. It's a little scary. It's going to be new. Bear with me as we get the setup kind of figured out. But yeah, I'm taking an extra day on Monday to kind of go ahead and get everything configured and set up and moved in. So yeah, tomorrow will be one of the last videos, if not the last. Like I said, maybe we'll record here again. Who knows? But most likely the final video in this recording spot. And it's going to be weird not having this setup. This has been my family home my whole life. So it's going to be a little weird not recording with this background. But you're going to see a new background on Tuesday. So, yeah, tomorrow we'll record normal. And then we'll be taking Sunday and Monday off as I move in to my new house. And we go ahead and get the new studio set up. So, guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, I hope you're all winners. Let's go ahead and make some money.